Of the holy prophet of God, Elijah, or Elijah, one of the greatest, of the Old Testament prophets. He lived a long time ago, maybe 900 years before the birth of Christ, and he was a remarkable man, very fiery character. Unusually for a prophet, he wasn't married, so he's like a paradigm of virginity and ascetic life. And he lived at a time when the people of Israel were falling away from the faith of their fathers. They were intermingling with the pagan people around them, adopting their customs, immorality, and their religion, their worship of the demon god Baal. And for this cause the Lord sent the prophet Elijah to rebuke them, to call them back, but they wouldn't listen. In particular, the king, especially the queen, King Ahab, and Queen Jezebel. Jezebel particularly hated him. She was a real pagan. And God worked many miracles through the prophet to convince the people that they were on the wrong track. The most famous of which was a kind of prophets contest. So there was Elijah, and they were the priests of the pagan god Baal. And Elijah proposed to the king, let's sort this out once and for all. Let them build an altar, offer a sacrifice, but no matches. Let them call upon Baal to send fire from heaven and consume the sacrifice, showing his power. And so they did that, and the priests of Baal prayed all day, and nothing happened. And then Elijah built his altar, put his sacrifice on it, but before praying he commanded to pour water all over it, so the wood was all wet 3 times. So definitely no chance of it burning. Then Elijah prays, and fire comes down from heaven and consumes the sacrifice. And all the people say, oh yes, Elijah's God is the true God. And then they killed all the pagan priests. But it wasn't the end of the story. There were some that were resistant, particularly that Jezebel. The word name Jezebel was entered into the English language. It's a particularly bad person, woman in this case. But that's where it comes from. And she tried to get rid of the prophet, but the Lord saved him. And in the end, he wasn't martyred, he didn't die a natural death. He was taken up to heaven in a fiery chariot. And the tradition was that he would come back to earth before the coming of the Christ, the Messiah. That was and when Christ came and the apostles asked him about it, they said, why do they say Elijah has to come back? And he said, well, if you think about it, if you like it, Elijah has already come in the person of St. John the Baptist. Very analogous in a way. Ascetic, desert dweller, celibate, and one who rebuked, again, the same people of Israel. And the story of the Old Testament is the story of God's revelation and man's apostasy. The people receive the true faith, and then 5 minutes later they're off again worshipping pagan idols. It seems this is like intrinsic tendency of fallen humanity, and we can be quite sure that we have our own idols today, and sometimes we are tempted to worship them, to offer sacrifices, our time, our money, to whatever it is that we think is really important apart from God, serving our own selfish interests. Also there, Prophet Elijah is prayed too in times of drought, because again, trying to convince the people, he prayed, asked God to close the heavens, to send a great drought on the earth. And there was a drought for 3 whole years. Drought, famine, and so on. And when after the contest with the priest of Baal, then Elijah prayed and it rained. So maybe this is a good time to be praying, offer a prayer to the holy prophet of God, Elijah. As it happens, the weather forecast promises a bit of rain next week, but let's pray anyway. I'll come in here.